good afternoon. Welcome to Les Teillatts, Teillatts. I've heard it called all sorts of things, and I'm still not quite sure of the name. Anyway, it's the end of April, and the bull is back on tour. Yes, absolutely fantastic. Now, you're probably wondering, you're looking a little bit red-faced. Well, the weather's gone absolutely bonkers warm. It must be 28, 29 degrees over in France, and the bull is not used to this weather. It seems like we've just come out of the cold, and lo and behold, what happens? The weather goes warm. So yeah, they've had a few really warm days over here, and we arrived this morning, and I must admit, although I did manage to get a little bit of sleep on the coach, I'm absolutely shattered. So sun's out. Actually, do you know what? Save me squinting. That's better. Yeah, sun's out. Guns aren't out just yet. However, I do have a couple of essentials. Can't come to France and not have a beer on the first Saturday afternoon, and a bit of that. So factor 15. I think I'm going to fry slightly. So I reckon we're about 3 o'clock now. Got food in about an hour and a half, which quite looking forward to. I haven't done a great deal. I've literally got gear strewn everywhere. I got the bivvy up and then decided I didn't like where the bivvy was, so yeah, I moved it back a little bit. That's the point. I haven't even said which swim I'm in. I'm in a swim called Midday, which is, I believe, in the northeast corner, so southwesterly wind blows in here. Had a walk round, and I had a hunch and a suspicion this time of year, where we going into the last week of April. It's a deep lake, this, and totally different from the trip back in August. It wasn't the open water that I was fancying, so I was really thinking about the corners, either the crescent, the fence. Oh, that was a fish. At least there's something down there. Yeah, the crescent, the fence, new biffos potentially, and also the swim I'm in, Midday. So I came 5th out the draw, which I was really quite happy with. Oh, a nice bit of breeze. That's delightful. That's helping things a bit. Yeah, like I said, I was 5th out the draw. I was quite happy with that, and really I wanted one of the corners. So, not surprisingly, the swims that I'd already mentioned had already gone in the draw. So I was really quite happy with the prospect of fishing Midday. Lovely reed line bay. And it's kind of a bit of a loner swim, if I'm honest, because you're kind of a little bit on your own, and there's a couple of spots which you really kind of need to class as snag fishing, so you've got to stay on your rods. And I'm really looking forward to having a go in here. Not fished this swim before, and yeah, I'm going to get some food. Hopefully Darren will be around in a bit with some grub, and then I know a few of the spots here, so just get a little bit of bait out for the first night, and then we can review things in the morning, and hopefully get a bit of sleep, because I'm absolutely shattered. Anyway, beer or sun cream, I don't know which one to go for. Might have to be both at the same time. Anyway, for now, it's ball cam out. Catch you later. Morning all. What a difference a night's sleep makes. I think I must have crashed at about 10 o'clock, and I slept straight through to 6:30, and I just feel genuine. Although I probably don't look it, hair's probably all over the place, and eyes are still a little bit shot, but yeah, I feel a lot more with it today. So right, Sunday morning, breakfast will be on its way probably about an hour's time, and I did actually put 3 rods out yesterday evening. I left it a little bit later than what I planned. I've got 1 rod fishing over to, let's say, a prominent snag. It's a very visible snag, which looks to be all on the surface of the water straight opposite. 21 wraps, and I had a little wander around just with the waders on. As it was, I didn't even need the waders, so I put the Polaroids, put my cap on, and just wandered over, and there was 3 fish in and around the area. Nothing big, Probably the biggest just under £30. So there were fish already on the snag, so it seemed logical. There's fish there, fish for them. So it probably took me 3 casts to get a rig where I wanted. Could have gone down the line of dropping with the boat, but it's a short cast, and I'm trying to keep things as quiet as possible. So it's sort of balancing up, obviously making repeated casts or dropping in by the boat. But I think I've got the cast sized up now. Although it's only 21 wraps, it's quite a narrow corridor where I need to put where I need to drop the lead in. So that was good. Left-hand rod, again another known spot, about 70 yards, sort of to the left of where Bailiff's Point is. So a little bit deeper the water there, about 14 foot. And then my third rod, I've got a little gap in the reeds just down to my right. So I had a little wander about with the waders, just found a lovely spot in 5 foot, just off the edge of the reed. So literally just walk out and lower it in. So yeah, that should be quite interesting. That's it. That's in 5 foot. So that's effectively rods in 5 foot, 6 foot, and 14 foot. So I'm kind of covering all bases. But I got a bit of a hunch that these fish, they'll be craving this shallower water, especially now that it's warmed up. You know, yesterday was just off the scale. So yeah, feeling a bit more with it today. So hopefully we can have a watch, see what's going on, and adjust tactics accordingly. So for now, it's coffee time and ball cam out. Catch you later. Morning all. Post breakfast ball cam update. It's about 10 o'clock now, and had breakfast, and that kind of knocked me out for another hour. Just had a little lay down on top of the sleeping bag, and before I knew it, I was flat out again for another hour or so. So yeah, I probably feel like I've recharged and caught up on some sleep. And today's the day where, you know, I really need to get my head into gear and fathom out what's going on. So yeah, I feel much more into it today. I was just struggled yesterday, tired, hot. So I didn't really make any rash decisions. Literally just did enough to get 3 rods out. Literally a little bit of bait around each rod just to sort of feel my way in. Yeah, it's warming up already. However, it does appear that we've got a change of weather today. There's a bit of a southwesterly due later on, late morning, according to the weather app. So that should be interesting, because that will blow straight into this bay. Seen the odd sign of fish this morning, but nothing to get particularly excited about. So as Sunday mornings go, it's been a very lazy one. I think I'm just going to sit on my hands for a little bit and just I'll leave the rods in play for now. I'm fairly confident, certainly on 2 of them. The right hand margin rod, you know, that just screams fish. It's in 5 foot. The rod across on the snag, there were fish in there yesterday, so you know, I'm pretty happy with that. The left hand rod I'm just going to leave in the deeper water, just keep baiting it. I'll put some more bait on that spot later on. And yeah, I'm quite intrigued to see what today will bring, if I'm honest, because yeah, change of weather, I think it just needs a bit of a breeze just to liven things up. So yeah, come on the southwesterly, and I think I'll sit on my hands for now, and until later, it's ball cam out. Well, good afternoon. That wind has steadily picked up all morning, and not surprisingly has brought quite a few fish with it. It's been looking really, really good down here this afternoon. So I was confident of certainly 2 of the rods. There were fish that had been showing very close to them, and I say it was only a matter of time. But the right hand rod, which I've just got down in the little gap, couple of bleeps, and it's just whacked round. So fortunately I had the Crocs on, so I just steamed in, picked into it, and the tip was bent round, and I thought, yeah, it's definitely a fish on the end here. And sure enough, spirited battle, and first carp of the session, into the net she went. 22 pound, lovely little mirror. So that was great for the confidence just to get that first fish under my belt. So I put the rod back out, and other than that, I've been just listening to fish crashing out all over the bay. They're still coming in now. Literally, I think within an hour of that wind picking up, they were making a procession into the bay, and they're literally crashing one after another right down in the bottom of the bay. Now, as tempting as it is to chase after them, I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave them to it. I've got a rod just on the end of the reed bed. It's already done a bite, so I think it's a case of just trying to coax them out, dropping the hook bait in literally off the rod end, wading out and just lowering it in, and then a little mesh bag of 2 PVA nuggets cut in half and just put in the bag, tied up nice and tight, just on the end of the on the end of the hook, and then literally I'm lowering it in, bump down on the bottom, and just giving the lead a little bit of a tweak, because it's quite soft down there. Yeah, just sort of just laying the lead out, and then obviously letting the hook link just drop when the PVA dissolves, and then I've got a nice little marker just to literally scatter a handful of mainline essential cell 16 and 18 mil chops, which I've been glugging up in some hemp oil just to give them a little bit more. So it is literally a handful at a time. Really nice way of fishing, and a great way to get a quick bite at this time of year when the fish are sort of venturing in. They want to be in the margins where it's nice and warm. So yeah, all is good thus far. The only other thing I'm contemplating has been a bit of a hatch this afternoon, and it's quite clear that the fish that are coming into the bay are up in the water. Now, there's been several shows where I don't think they're far below the surface, you know, perhaps a foot or 2 foot. They're not kind of boshing out, they're kind of like surging on the surface or just under the surface. And I've seen a couple of big fish, you know, big enough to get quite excited. So what I've got on my mind is, should I have a zig out there? Now, when I previously fished here, when it's been later in the year, the zigs haven't been allowed, but Darren talked us through when we got here on Saturday what they do allow on Teillatts early season, before any weed gets up. You can use zigs as long as you use minimum of 15-pound line, basically just, you know, fish with strong gear. So I'm really glad that that is an option. I wasn't really sure that it would be, but I had all my kit with me, so that's definitely something that I'll look to give a go later this afternoon, because I think there's a chance for a bite. So anyway, I've been talking and rattling on for long enough. I'm going to continue to watch, see what these fish are doing, and give you an update later on. So for now, ball cam out. Catch you later. Yeah, deep breath time. My hands are literally shaking. Head's completely gone. Right, get yourself together. Yeah, this wind's been pushing down here all afternoon, and I had that smaller fish earlier on, and it seems that this wind just kept on bringing fish. Amongst them some good ones as well, and got to about 5 o'clock, had some food, and I'd sort of hatched a bit of a plan. There was a lot of just under the surface shows, and there's been quite a big hatch today, and I was convinced that these fish were up in the water, and they were literally crashing and rolling one after another. There must have been 50-60 shows down here, but kind of along the line of sort of 2/3 across. So I reeled in the rod that's over on the snag, quickly flicked the marker out, and like I said, 2/3 of the way across. I had about 12.5 foot, so cranked it back in, and I thought, right, I'm going to put a zig out there amongst them, and yeah, it's kind of worked. It's just unbelievable that I just did not expect it. Actually, I need to make my point. Anyway, I've had a bite, so played it in, good fish. Lead didn't come off because I only put a small lead on, because I didn't want to create too much disturbance, and it's just plodded off like a good fish. And I've probably been playing it 20-25 minutes, and it's just under the rod tip. And because the zigs that I was using, obviously 11-footer, I've virtually got the leg clip in the tip ring, and the fish is still plodding around. Anyway, I've seen it turn, I've seen it's a big common, and eventually it's gone in the net. I thought, you know, that could be 40 pound. Anyway, I've looked in the net, and I'm literally like, oh my god, it's happened again. I've got it out and weighed in, it's 63 pound. I just cannot believe it. New PB common. just couldn't have scripted it. Absolutely ludicrous. Anyway, the fish is in the retention sling. I think I'm going to have a drink just to calm me down, and I'll give Mr. Alloway a shout. He's over on the other side, and he's kindly agreed to come round and do the pictures for me. So absolutely awesome. Can't believe it. And I think it will probably sink in once I've had a chance to hold her up and show it to you. So yeah, an incredible Sunday evening at Teillatts. Ball cam out.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
One little nick there.
63 pounds pure common sport.
Well,
Hey, welcome back.
I
Mr.
guess it's
Bridger.
well, Mr. Reed said to me, Teillatts owes you nothing.
I tend to agree, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I've been gillied for you for a week.
Well, I had to get you over, mate. That is just, I think it's sinking in now. I've got this in my hands. That is just absolutely
colossal. It is a beast, mate. Yeah, I know this is a bit strange, but can you hold it out a bit?
Yep. I'm better with them that way. Hold on, let's just get my balance. Oh yes.
Oh, and again.
There we go.
Is this a PB comment?
Yes, it is.
Hey, come on,
another one.
Teeth, fella. Have you got a big bucket? Because you're going to want one.
Fortunately, I haven't. I think we'll leave it at that, mate.
Yeah, you're done.
She's had enough.
You need some water shots, mate.
Yes. Oh my, oh
Well done,
my.
my friend. Another beast. Another fantastic capture.
Hold on a minute. I think that's a Zig PB as well.
By what? By like £40?
Less than you'd think, actually.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Enough said. Is it all right?
That one's in.
Yeah, all right.
Get off. Oh, it's a well, good evening. A few mosquitoes kicking about now. I've just set one of my mozzie coils going. Oh my days. I haven't really been able to take it in, I think. I've just had a look back at the pictures. I can't quite believe it, if I'm honest. Oh my days. Sunday evening and a new PB common. This place is just, it's just nuts. Unbelievable. And to catch it on a zig, well, that just makes it even more mad. So, I don't know what else I can say for this evening other than mosquitoes, watch out, ball cam out. Catch you later. Morning. Just morning, actually. 11:30 update. The conditions have changed a little bit now. It's quite cool and misty this morning, and there wasn't a lot of breeze, but in the last half hour that southwesterly's picked up again, and it's put a nice ripple all across the pond. And probably more importantly, if you follow things that have previously happened, you think, well, there's a chance of them happening again. So yeah, we've got a nice bit of ripple pushing down into the bay. It's been very quiet, if I'm honest. The fish that I've been seeing and hearing have either been out in the main body of open water or down to my left, sort of in front of the rock. There's not been a lot going on in the bay at all. This sun feels really, really hot, hence why I'm kind of hiding away inside the XL bivvy, just you're getting a bit of shelter. I haven't put any sun cream on yet. So anyway, in terms of what I've been up to, couple of tactical changes. I've come off of the snag over on the far side and put a 10-foot zig out about 2/3 of the way across, just on a hunch, just that there might be cruisers coming in at some point today, and with this wind hopefully some fish will drift through, and that seems to be the line that they've been following. So I think that kind of makes sense. Hopefully 10 foot in 12 foot, 2 foot under the surface. If they're cruising through, I think there's a chance. It's a chance for an opportunist bite. The right hand rod down by the reeds. Oh, there's a fish just crashed off the spot then. I've literally been round the far side. Probably put 3 or 4 handfuls of chops on the snag spot, and I've done the same on the end of the reeds just to try and keep a little bit of bait going in. Just that noise, and obviously the scent trail that's coming off the hemp oil on that essential cell. I think they like it, so I think I'll just keep doing that periodically, every couple of hours, just a handful or 2 handfuls. Did I mention the zigs? Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I've got a zig rod out towards the snag, 2/3 of the way across. I brought the longer baited spot rod, which has done nothing so far. Brought that in, and I've moved a single stick just slightly down to the left, and I put a 10-foot zig on that one as well in 12 foot. Again, just trying to maximise time really. It seems like the afternoons and evenings down here are the hot time, but what can you do to get a bite in between? I think I'm going to rest that snag. It kind of leaves the door open if you haven't got a rod fishing all the way across as well, so I think that you stand to gain from that as well, but we will see. I'm kind of surprised that the margin rod's been as quiet as what it is. I might have to just recheck the rig, because I put that back out this morning, not so much as a bleep, so I'm kind of a bit paranoid with that woodwork down there, whether is it hung up on another snag. But I think I'll give it an hour and then redo it. So that's it for now. Anything else occurs, I shall be back. Ball cam out. Welcome back. Monday midday update. Bit of a change in the weather. Cloud cover's sort of really taken hold today, and exactly what the forecast said it was going to do. The wind was going to switch. It's more of a northeasterly now, so it just feels completely different to the last 2 days. And with this wind switch, there isn't the volume of fish that were in here yesterday. Now, I'm presuming they must have moved out at some point in the night. Now, if I'd been super keen, I would have stayed up, but I didn't. And this morning it was noticeable that the fish had shifted definitely further to my left, sort of towards the rock in the field, and as a result I was seeing quite a few shows, some really close in, not that far off the bank. And Scott, who's fishing in rock in the field, has now had 3 fish. I think a 25, might have been another 20, and about an hour ago had a lovely 48 mirror. So obviously he's really happy, because change of conditions has brought him a few bites, so that was good, nice to see. In terms of in Manny's, not a great deal going on. There have been a couple of shows right down in the corner, and I think I had what I believe was an aborted take on the sneaky margin rod, just down in the small gap to my right. So enough bleeps to get me flying out the bivvy, waders on. And when I got to the rod, the bobbin, I've set it reasonably tight, and I've got the line running over what I call a line lifter, which is basically it's a 6-foot pole with like a rubberized threaded sort of like a U rest, which just screw into the top, and it's quite useful just if you just need to change your line angle slightly. So literally I'm wading out from the second gap, dropping the rig, scattering a bait over the top, and then walking up the margin back to the gap, which is literally, I don't know, 10 meters I suppose from where I'm sat now. And yeah, I've got the line going over the rest, and then onto the buzzer. I've got snag bar on the front, and then I've actually locked the butt into position, actually with one of our tracker multi-purpose hooks. Now they're just great for little things like this, and basically I've just looped it under the bank stick, or round the bank stick, and then just clipped it on, so that rod is absolutely locked into play. So I've got no worries about getting a rod dragged in or anything. It's the last thing you want to be happening when you're sort of fishing to a reed bed, because the chances are the fish are going to kite. So aside from that, not a great deal to report. There was a few fish crashing closer to the reeds over by the snag, so I brought the zig rod in, which remained motionless overnight. It was very, very quiet in the night overall, nothing happening at all. So I've gone back over onto the snag, come a little bit off it, probably a rod length off it, and I've just wandered around and just scattered, I don't know, probably a handful of chops, essential cell chops with the catapult. And there's been a couple of fish in the area, so I think with the change of weather, they've definitely dropped down in the water. There's no hatches or anything going on like there was yesterday. Change of conditions, so I think it probably does warrant a change of tactics. So we'll see what the afternoon brings. I think my plan will be probably give it to about 1 o'clock. I think I'm going to have a wind in, have a wander around the pond, go and see the lads, have a couple of beers, as I often like to do on these French trips. You know, it's not just about the fishing. Go and have a couple of beers, and I think I'll probably do a full lap of the lake, go and see Mr. Alloway over in New Biffos, see how the other lads are getting on, and then probably think about getting rods and some bait back out, probably for 3-4 o'clock, I reckon. So yeah, for now, not a great deal to report, but all is well, so I'll catch you later. Ball cam out. Well, is it Monday, Darren? Yeah, it's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday afternoon. Yeah, I've been
Bolognese Day.
Bolognese Day, yeah. Well, I've been resting the swim. We call resting the swim because it normally means a couple of beers on an afternoon. Responsible drinking, of course. Anyway, I've come back round, fired me 3 rods out, and the one on the snag over the far side has literally gone within about 20 minutes, and it's been giving me the right pull around. Feels like a good fish. So whatever it is, the battle's been epic, so I'm going to concentrate and trying to get it in the net.
It's been a while. You got it on long?
About 20 minutes, mate.
Yeah.
It's just,
Going like sting.
you know when you hit them and they're just like a tank on a tight drag, just,
We go.
and it does not want to come up. I thought it was a cat, but it ain't. There we go, it's definitely a cat. Come on. Oh, come on. Keep coming, baby. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. You just give up, didn't you? You just give up. Superb. It ain't a monster, mate, but it's a lovely fish.
Very welcome fish. Yeah.
Superb.
Well done.
Mate, proper rucker, that thing. That was mental.
Well done.
Good. Okay, good evening. Alright, what time are we? 6:30. Right, catch up time. I've got 1 rod left in play now. It's it's been a bit of carnage, to be fair. Got back round in the swim 3:30, and I think I'm getting mixed up in terms of what happened. I've put a record on my phone, so I know I'm on 6 fish now, 1 loss. I'll talk about the loss in a minute. Yeah, got back round, rods back out. I had a wicked 46-pound mirror off the far snag, so yeah, well happy with that. And then that's in the net, plus food's here, so I'm like, how inconvenient. So I left that one in the net, literally just quickly put the food away. Right hand rod's gone, a little stocky which I just unhooked in the water, probably 17-18 pound. Redid that rod, it went again with another stocky. And I thought, right, okay, we dealt with the mirror, so that had gone back. And I thought, right, I really need to get a rod back over the far side. And the wind had picked up, and the cast was good. And I know I'm close to this little outcrop of. It's not really an outcrop. It's just it's an overhanging snag. Anyway, the wind just literally caught it at the last minute, and I've hung up in the branches, and I've had to pull for a break. Unfortunately. The hook just bent out, and I got everything back, so literally swapped the rig. I put it straight back out, and I'm just sinking the line, with the bail arm closed, and it's just surged in my hand. So literally I wound down, hit it. At this point it's already kited about 20 yards. Also, just I didn't expect to take that quick, and this fish has just gone like a steam train, kept on going, and probably, I guess by the time I'd sort of felt like I had it under half control, I just felt this sort of grating of woodwork, and I could tell by the line angle it wasn't on the far side. It's obviously found some stumps or something down the bottom. So in the end the hook link parted, which is a bit gutting, but I've got the rest of the stuff back, the tubing, leg clip and stuff, so it's almost a bit of insult just having like part of a hook link back, but I guess it happens. Who knows what it was? All I know is it went off like a steam train. So I'm just having 5 minutes, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's been hectic. It's been great sport this afternoon. The wind's still pumping down. There's obviously fish still down here, so I've just got the long rod in play. I think I'm going to sort of have 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll probably just need to check the line on that rod that I lost the fish on, because it's probably that like the line might have been damaged further up, so I'll probably have to strip a bit back, and then we're back in business. So yeah, it's been a great afternoon, and to be on 6 fish by Monday evening, can't complain. Quite looking forward to having a look at the pictures of the 46 and a bit of the footage, and I'll probably do a little bit more work on this edit later this evening, hopefully when things calm down just a little bit, so I can get tidied up and get sorted. So yeah, that's it from now. Nice little update. Sun's still shining, lovely and warm, t-shirt weather. Face is still a little bit red. I think all the hemp all on my hands is going to aid with the tanning, so yeah, all is good. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll catch you later. Ball cam out. Morning. Tuesday morning update. About 7 a.m. now. Just got the kettle on for the first cup of coffee of the day, and I've got a few rigs to let's just turn this off. Yeah, I've got a few rigs just to steam up. Had a bit of a rig constructing session last night when it had quietened down, just to top up the rigs again. So I've got another 8 made up, and they just need steaming and steaming straight, and the shrink tube setting in position. So to update from last night, there was a bit of action. The right hand margin rod, I had what I thought was a take, and I think it probably was a take, but when I got to the rod tip was bent round, and the hook had found its way into a bit of woodwork, so managed to retrieve that. Decided not to put the rod back out, baited, and I've just left it. Literally first job this morning when I got up at 6:45, get that rod back in, and amazingly I lowered the rig in, PVA didn't drop off or come up to the surface again, and I just lifted the lead and I was hung up on another bit of wood. Oh, that was a fish. So yeah, I've had to drag this log onto the bank, remove the hook from it, check the hook point. Fortunately the hook point was still okay, so lowered the rig back in, cut the handfuls over the top. The margin rod over the far side had a bite on that at about 1:30, and big drop back, sort of wound in, and I didn't connect for quite a while, and it was a strange battle, sort of this thing kind of zigzagging, and it just felt strange. Anyway, sure enough, popped the head torch on, netted a small catfish, probably about £15 I suppose, and just got it to the edge, and it was just nicked in the side, so I was able just to pop the hook out, and opted not to put that rod back out. So it's a tricky cast over there, and I didn't want to risk either a miscast or going in the snag, so thought, tell you what, let's just leave that rod out for the rest of the night. So in that respect, the bay has been without angling pressure for probably 6 hours, which I don't think is the worst thing. In the end, I literally got the spare rod, just put a bank stick slightly to the left of where I'm sort of looking now, and just flicked out literally a single hook bait with a small mesh bag of crumb, just in short, just so that I had 2 rods in play. I've still got the long rod over the bait in the 14-foot spot. That's still out there, not done anything as yet. So yeah, let's get back to a bit of rig making, a bit of coffee drinking, and I'm going to contemplate getting this margin rod back into play. Doesn't appear to be any signs of fish at the moment, so it might be a good idea just to get the rig back in while it's quieter. I've already walked round, primed the area with a couple of hook baits, a couple of handfuls of chopped boilies again. I'm suspecting if the cats have been in, they've probably mopped up most, if not all, of the bait that was over there. So yeah, that needed topping up. So yeah, let's get cracking, get these rigs done and get this rod back out. Oh yeah, it's breakfast time soon as well, which is a proper bonus. Ball cam out.
Talk us through this one then, Bull.
Well, I hope this one's still in here. We've had a bit of carnage. I redid a rod on the zig, just in short. They've been crashing out, and probably 15 minutes later had a bite. As I was playing it, I saw Mr. Alloway making his way round, obviously bored and been sat in the sun. So with that, he's got into the swim, and then the margin rod's gone. So Jace has played that in, and we've just slipped back, I think, what, upper 20, low 30,
yeah,
scaly mirror.
Yeah, nice fish.
So that's the biggest from down there, so that's good. This one's a common. Should you have a look, mate?
I think so.
I'm glad you're here. You time your arrivals.
Always happy to help. Nice and dark.
Yeah, it's very grey. How not to do it?
Oh mate, what
Fell
happened
over.
there?
Fell over, didn't I?
Good hands though. Caught the fish.
We've still got the fish.
We have.
New fashion, Crocs with socks, boys. It's the future.
It works for you. You've got the legs for it.
Alright then, should we try this again?
Come on then. Very nice.
Alright. Well, that's the zig victim. Look at the colour of that.
That is one dark fish.
20, 25 maybe?
Got to be, hasn't it?
Maybe a little bit bigger, but
Oh,
we're not going to weigh her.
well done, my friend.
But we will
Another
say hello
victim.
to her, because she's made it the start of a very interesting morning, mate. Time for a beer, I suspect.
Sounds good to me.
Ah, Jace, come on in. Come on in.
And gels into another.
Well, Jace, what's been going on, mate? You'll have to talk us through it. We've been having a beer, haven't we?
We have been having a beer, mate. Yeah, it's turned into a rather nice day. Just chewing the fat, and the old rod's ramped off again. We've got one on. We're not really sure of the size, but everyone's welcome.
Well, this was the rod I just redid, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't there long, was it?
No, there's been a lot of fish. They're obviously having a go on something under the surface. So, brought it back in, redid the zig, flicked it out short, and it's probably gone within 20 minutes. So, great sport on a hot April afternoon.
It's a beautiful day.
To be fair, mate, these conditions are just a zig angler's absolute dream.
Oh, there we go. Did you get that? think we might have got that. Yeah, there's a few in the area. Do you know what you need? A landing net.
I do.
I'll go and retrieve one for you.
Thanks, mate. I'm half expecting that other rod to go, you know.
Wow, I've got my fingers crossed.
It's got your name on it.
I've had one of yours already. Might as well make it two. There's a nice pretty mirror I had.
That's beautiful, man.
Oh, had a bit of a glimpse then, didn't look bad.
Yeah, come down here, mate. We can do a little bit of close-in work.
Got some close up. There we go. It's not a bad one, is it?
Well, it's to be fair, the fish that have been showing in front of us, they're not massive, but do you know what? It's just good sport, and when you're seeing them like that, you just want to catch them. And it was obvious they're up in the water, and it's just blooming good fun. It's putting a bend in the rod.
It is, yeah. Put up a nice account of itself. I'll tell you what, it
That's
doesn't
not
look a bad fish.
It's not a bad fish.
That is a good fish, actually. Yeah, very nice indeed. I think we'll get a bit of a, we can get a bit of a close up.
Well, it goes to show, even with the 15-pound hook link rule, you still get bites. So.
Yeah, they're not shy, are they, when they're feeding?
There's loads of roach sort of following.
I know Carl yesterday. He said he could see them taking fry. So just shows you. I'll take whatever's available.
It's not a bad one, is it?
Even though you've got what is actually a heavy hook link, you still sort of, you know, you play them gingerly, don't you, on the old zig? You do.
Yeah. Small hook. It's still a relatively light line, isn't it? But
yeah.
and these fish, to be fair, they do pull hard, don't they?
Yeah. I said that earlier when I got that one on yours.
Mate, those stockies have been literally bionic. They've never been caught before, and they're fighting for their lives, and they're just.
Yeah. Yeah, you can imagine those stockers, they've had they've had a steady life, haven't they, up until now. They've been in a I don't know, probably 200, 300 acre sort of reserve, and then hello, welcome to the angling world. And they pull.
Didn't know it was up, mate. The bite was sort of just one of them, wasn't it? It was like
never really. It didn't ramp off, did it?
I think it probably just they go around in circles, don't they? Just thinking, trying to get rid.
Oh, I think it knows it's about had enough.
that. They look mad in this blue water, don't they? It's just,
Yeah, that little tinge.
You see the bellies.
I'll tell you what, you're not being shy with that rod, are you?
No, no.
Hey. I'll say they're FMJs, they've got a nice bend in them.
No, I never get accused of playing them light. Maybe one more run.
I thought it was done then. How many is this you've had now, Jerry?
8 including your one.
Yeah?
So this will be 9 including your
So
one.
it's not bad for Tuesday.
Come on, baby. Come on. Come to the ball.
Oh, look at that.
Come to the ball.
Textbook.
Come on, come to the ball. Yes.
Well done.
Oh, yeah, man. Doing it on the zigs, mega.
Brilliant.
Well, there we go. Mr. Alloway working the camera. It's like last year again, mate. £31 on a zig. And that was the rod that hadn't even been out that long, so. Nice fish, good battle. And great fun on a hot April afternoon. Tuesday afternoon at that.
Yeah, well done, mate. Beautiful fish.
Very nice.
And shows them teeth.
Evening all, 7 PM Tuesday evening update. No more captures to report, unfortunately, since I was on last. I did lose a fish just after 4:30. Literally, Darren brought food round. Just about to tuck into my lamb shank, and one of the zig rods was away, but unfortunately it fell off after about 30 seconds. So still fish showing up in the layers. For some reason I can't get a bite. I wouldn't say it was like shelling peas earlier on, but you know, it felt like it's getting something rolling, and yeah, I was onto something. But yeah, they're still behaving as they were. Probably the shows have just slowed down a tad from what they were, because literally at times there was a couple going at once. So obviously there was a lot of fish down here. The breeze has just started to ease off, so I'm guessing something's changed. Obviously from when you're getting bites and then you stop getting bites, it does make you wonder. I had a little wander round to the far side snag earlier on. Put a few more handfuls of bait. That's not had a rig on it all day, so yeah, I'll put a rod back on that, and we'll give that a go. Other than that, not a lot to update on. Hopefully I'll be back on later. Catch you in a bit. Morning. Wednesday morning update. Just after 7 AM. I'm on my second cup of coffee already. Yeah, I've been busy this morning. Probably to back up the fact that last night was actually very quiet, other than one occurrence which resulted in a loss, but I'll come to that in a minute. Yeah, set my alarm for early because I just wanted to review things overnight and then get these rods done early for the morning. And sure enough, this wind has picked up much earlier than before, and again it's like a southwesterly blowing into Manny's Bay, and it's looking really good. Anyway, I redid the margin rod. That's been out since probably an hour or so after Jason landed that fish on my rod when I had the double take. So I put the rig back out, a couple of handfuls, and literally nothing. And that's that's the first time that rod has been in position for that long and nothing's happened. So it leads me to think, well, is it a presentation thing? Was I hung up on a snag? I wasn't, incidentally, when I reeled in and picked up the rod. So I've made a bit of a presentation change on that. I've gone for a pop-up rig, but I've just whittled down the pop-up, so it just sinks down. So obviously the hook bait will take on a little bit of water, but it's as critically balanced as I could get it to start off with anyway. So yeah, and as I mentioned, that's on a pop-up rig, so let's see if that trips them up. I've upped the lead size as well, so let's see how that goes. So a couple of handfuls on that rod. Redone the margin rod where I had a pickup and a loss in the night. Again, I think it was a small catfish, strange bite, weird fight, kited out into open water, didn't feel a big fish and then fell off. So I can't redo that rod at night, so I just left that one on the side. So that's back out there, smack back on, a couple of handfuls around it, and I've redone the zig. So probably not almost normal practice perhaps, you know, when you're big fish fishing in France, but it needed it, either freshening things up or getting rods back out in position. So I'm going to continue with my caffeine intake, keep watching, and hopefully update you very shortly with some action. So for now, ball cam out, catch you later. I lost one, haven't I, on the zig that I've just redone. You only mentioned a minute ago, it's like I'll be back if anything happens, and I think it must have been within 5 minutes of switching the camera off. So I just swung the camera around just to get a shot of the lake, and I was just zooming in on the buzzer, and I could see the bobbing going, and obviously I could hear the bite alarm in the background as well. So yeah, it felt like a pretty reasonable fish. It wasn't the sort of stamp of fish I was catching on the zigs yesterday. It was definitely a better fish. So the hook pulled out about halfway in, so I had to give it a bit of pressure because it was starting to kite right, and if it gets down there, then I've had it. So only leaves me with one option really. I hate losing fish. Anyway, rod's back out. I don't know why I did that really. Bits of twig and dust in my mouth. Looks like the cleverest thing I've ever done. Bloody idiot. Morning all. Well, let's see if I can do this at the same time. We've got one. Where's it said? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, after a couple of losses, it's nice to get a bit of payback. So that was from over the far side. Not a massive fish, probably into 30s, but it absolutely rucked like a maniac. So let's get her out and have a look. Lovely. Bull with carp in there, 8. Right. Hello. Success. Finally. Absolutely pearled the cast back into onto the snag. It's like that is definitely a bite. We're probably about 20 minutes from actually winding in and going for a shower. So yeah, it's good it's good to get one back in. A really angry fish. Lovely mirror, hard fighting, 34 pound. No, it's not one of the Teillatts monsters, but I'll tell you what, these fish are mega. I would have put the weight at twice the size from how it fought. It was absolutely bionic. Brilliant battle, lovely carp. Right, let's get it back, get showered, catch you later. Midday update. Quick shower, change of clothes, and a change of weather as well. This southwesterly wind has picked up even further, and it's starting to bring a little bit of rain with it as the as the weather forecast predicted. So yeah, absolutely, we got that one bang on. Anyway, since I've been back, I'd hatched a plan yesterday evening to bring a rod into play to actually fish right in the back of the bay, and I'd heard either a couple of big fish or the same big fish roll and crash down the far end, and I kind of clocked where the fish had been crashing, and I'd heard it and seen it at least 2 or 3, if not 4 times since I've been here. So I'm kind of hoping that that fish is in residence down here. It's not come to either the rods, either on the snag or in the bay to the right, so I'm kind of at that stage of the week now where I don't feel I've got anything to lose. So, you know, I've had great sport thus far on 11 carp as it stands now, sort of Wednesday afternoon. So it's kind of time to up the ante a little bit. So I was thinking yesterday evening, how can I work this? I don't want to run a line from the swim through the swim right down to the bottom, because it would just literally cut me off. So kind of hatched a plan of how I could actually set up, pretty similar to what Mr. Cheatham did last year when we were here in August, where he successfully opted for a washing line technique. Now, for those of you that aren't aware of it, effectively what it means is fishing your rod elevated with the line going across the pond, not touching the water, so not in the water at all, over to a pole, and then effectively you slack line down from the pole. Now, I've had to kind of fashion it a little bit, so I was kind of literally rummaging through the tackle box to see what I had, and then it dawned on me, right, I can use a section of pole elastic. So I literally figure of 8, knotted it, moistened it, and just kind of teased it down so it actually gripped the sort of the base of a landing net pole. And I brought a spare one with me, and I was able to actually get a Signet storm pole, remove the inner, and then actually drop the landing net pole into it, thus giving me the height that I needed. Anyway, I've set it up and it worked, an absolute treat. Lined up the cast, because I'm casting across over onto the bank. There's a nice little clearing, so I can see if anybody's walking by. Obviously they don't want leads whistling past their head, and I think I did it second cast. Marked the line up on the actual fishing rod, walked round, got the rig, attached attached the hook link and the hook bait, and then with the waders on, I've been able to wade out, place the rig, and then bring the line, which is in direct contact with the rod, back up to the pole, loop it underneath the elastic, and where the knot is, literally I've been able to loop it back round. So it means I can tighten up from this end, and any resistance or a pull from the other end, the elastic will just flip and it pulls out. So what basically I'll get is a massive drop back this end if I get a take. So I have trialled this and used it a little bit. I'm certainly no expert in it, but the best way to learn anything or master anything is to try it, and in this situation it's absolutely perfect. So yeah, it's all gone well. So that rod's in play. So literally all I've got is a slack line coming off the pole on the far side. So hopefully these sneaky old big fish that have seen it all, I'm hoping it won't arouse any suspicion. So literally lowered the rig out, handful of chops and crumb, the essential cell again, and a little yellow hook bait, and it's in play. So we'll have to see how it goes. Aside from that, I've got the snag rod back out after I had that 34 mirror earlier on, so that's now done 2 nice fish off the deck off that snag, so hopefully that will keep going. And then my third rod, which is my left hand rod, I've just got out on a zig. So that's pretty much where we're at the moment. I'm just sat watching the rods and chilling out. So see what the weather brings, because there's certainly a few fish in the bay, so quite expectant of some action this afternoon. So for now, it's ball cam out. Catch you later. Well, as you can probably hear, it's absolutely lashing it down. The wind has picked up even stronger, and as expected, the rain has come with it. I've kind of been bivvy bound most of this afternoon. It's a bit of a change from the start of the week. Oh well. sit on my hands. Nothing else happening. I'll have to read a book or something. Can't watch the water, I've got my bivvy door shut. Yeah, I'm fronting right into this breeze, so not ideal. But it was when I put the bivvy up 3 or 4 days ago. Oh well, not a problem. Catch you later, ball cam out. Evening all, 7 PM update, Wednesday. As you can see, the rain gear has been swapped for sunglasses and t-shirt. Again, it's absolutely glorious. The breeze is still pushing down, although it has swung a little bit. But to be fair, that's fortunate because I had to redo the rod that I'm casting across to the snag. Must have been about 5 o'clock. Single bleep up and then the bobbin just fell slack, wound down, hit into nothing. So I'm pretty sure it was a pickup, and I think the fish had shook the rig and it had come off the shelf. It could have been a fish picking up the line on its way through. It's possible, but I tend to be realistic and think, yeah, it probably was some form of activity. Anyway, I redid the rod and I wasn't that happy. Crosswind was quite strong, and when you need the cast to be like 9 out of 10 in terms of distance and accuracy, and you're only getting like 7 out of 10, obviously this is like personal judgment on accuracy, I wasn't that happy, so I've just redone it now and probably got it to an 8 out of 10. It will do. So I've just walked back round, put actually I might as well show you. I've been putting some chops in, so I've been busy with the cutter tool or chopper or whatever the blooming thing's called all afternoon, hacking these little bad boys up. So yeah, literally a couple of handfuls just dotted about. Hopefully it will keep them grubbing. So seems to have worked so far, so I don't really see any particular reason to change. So yeah, little and often seems to be the way on these marginal spots. It just screams it. It's just not an area where you'd probably ever consider lumping in a load of bait, because it's just going to delay bite time. Literally couple of handfuls, get a bite, rig back out, couple of handfuls, and I've pretty much been topping up all day, probably 5 or 6 times a day. So over the course of the day it's quite a fair bit of bait, I suppose, but yeah, you don't want to be putting it in one hit. So yeah, not a great deal else to report. I've gone back out on the 18 wrap 14 foot spot. Went out in the boat earlier when I had the other rods in, so literally life jacket on, bucket of bait, and probably scattered, I reckon, 2 or 3 kilos of 10mm essential cell, some half 16s and half 18s. So it's a good old mix down there. And I didn't bait it yesterday, but that's had bait every day since Saturday, and call it determination or possibly stupidity, I've still got that inkling that a big fish is going to come out of the slightly deeper water. You know, there's been a lot of stockies knocking about in the edges and up in the water in this bay, so, and it has reflected in the size of fish that I've caught. I think the 63 common was good fortune. I won't say luck because you have to make your own luck, but I want a big fish on this trip. I've already had one, but is it greedy to want another? I guess not, that's why we do it. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to soak up the rest of this lovely evening sunshine, and hopefully I'll have the ball cam back on before it gets dark. See you later. It's just after 4:30 and managed to get the bite on camera as well on the old washing line. Small stocky, which we've got in the net here. So I think what I'll do, I'm not going to bring this one out on the bank. I'll just try and pop the hook out in the net and just let her go, I think. So yeah, mega. I think that's carp number 15. Beautiful. Well, there we go. That's the great thing with these barbless hooks. Literally just let the line slack, and more often than not, nature will take its course and the hook pops out on its own. Yeah, that was on a double bottom bait, double essential. You can see how they've washed out. Well, they've been out there for about an hour. So yeah, at least the washing line has done a couple of bites. Pleasing. Yeah, the old Ronnie style bottom rig. Longer link, couple of sinkers, leg clip. Job's a good one. Right, let's let this fish go. I think if I just gather the folds up. Oh, come here, baby. It's probably shade under £20. Come on, mate. Come on, mate, off you go. Mega. We keep on rolling on. Where's the big one? She was good as gold on the other side. Well, there we go. Wednesday evening, £42 common. I'm so glad I redid that margin rod on the snag, as it went within an hour. What an awesome fish. So we're into the 40s now as well. Beautiful. Excellent. Evening all. 9:45, and the end of what's been an extremely hectic couple of hours. The stockies just went on the rampage, and I must have had about 5 bites. It was just absolute carnage. Literally cast the rod over to the snag, walk round, bait up, come back round, it'd go, and I think that must have happened 4 times. The washing line rod also went with a stocky, so it's good to at least test it out. It worked absolutely perfectly. Massive drop back, and connected with the fish and played it in, and that was, yeah, a small stocky. Fortunately, it's not all been about the stockies. In and amongst those fish there was an awesome £42 common taken from the far side snag. So that has made today's hard work, effort, graft, whatever you want to call it. I know it's a holiday, but you know, you still got to put the effort in. It's made it completely worthwhile. So I think it's time for a coffee. I'm pretty pooped, so I don't think I'll be staying up particularly late. Like I mentioned, yeah, we're about 10 to 10 now. So yeah, it's been a great day on 13 carp and 1 catfish now. So yeah, it's going well. So yeah, roll on. Big Fish Thursday tomorrow. Let's see if it lives up to its name. Bull cam out. Good night. Well, good morning. First update of Thursday. I think we're about 9 AM now, and this chunky monkey, oh, it's gonna go. Yeah, this chunky little monkey, it's got to be 24-25 pound, I guess, has come on the snag rod on the far side. So literally put the rod out probably less than an hour ago, as it went just before dusk with one of the other stockies. So yeah, it was good to get the rod back out, walk back round, a couple of handfuls of bait, bingo, fish number 14, bull cam out. Evening all, 7 PM Thursday update, and I'm probably back doing what I do best. Sat on a bucket, chilling outside the bivvy, soaking up what's left of the late evening sun. Now, there's been a bit of a chill in the wind today. It has definitely felt different. I think there's a little bit more north in this wind, and the fish have reacted accordingly. You don't seem to be so obsessed with being right in the shallow water, right in the reeds or in the margins, and it's been noticeable that there's been a lot more fish out in the open water, showing, crashing, rolling, doing what they do. Now, I've had definitely a quieter day today. There's just not been the fish in the numbers that have been in the last couple of days. Now, literally, yesterday afternoon, I had that manic spell with the stockies terrorising me. It was literally black worm. Absolutely loads of fish down here, and it's just completely different today. It's the odd fish. I did drop one on a zig earlier on, landed that stocky, just ran about 4:30, 4:45, probably around about that sort of time. And other than that, I've just been sat watching. I've redone the washing line rod, so that's back in position. I've gone with a bigger double hook bait this time, just to try and prevent the attentions of the stockies. So maybe, you know, a big double bait might do it. Judging by the size of the mouths, I don't think it'll make any difference at all, because I think they'll pulverise that as well. But you've got to try these things. I've also been out in the boat when I wound in earlier on. Went out and put probably 2 kilos of boilies out there. Some chops, some 10 millers, some 16s, some 18s, a real mix of sizes, a bit of crumb, loads of hemp oil. And interestingly, the spot's been kicking off some flat spots, so I think there might be some attention on that spot. It's seen quite a bit of bait now, if I'm honest. I reckon there's probably, over the course of the week, okay, it's not huge amounts, probably maybe 8-9 kilos in total. Now, if that bait has been left, there's a feast down there for a carp or a few. So that's been encouraging, seeing some signs on that. So I've got a rod covering that. And then the third rod is over on the snag still. It's been very, very quiet though. Last fish I had off the snag was a bream, which didn't bode particularly well, but I starved the spot for probably 3 hours after that and didn't put a rod back out. So really the plan being, as I've done on here before, when the bream move in, stop feeding and just let them move on. If there's no food, there's no reason for them to stay. So that's the logic anyway. So other than that, I'm going to sign off for now, and hopefully I'll be back before dark with another update. If not, see you in the morning. Ball cam out. Morning all, just after 7 AM update Friday morning, and I've got a fish in the net. Small stocky which takes the tally up to 16 carp, 1 cat, 1 bream, and that was on the far margin snag rod, which I redid about an hour before dark, just to really try and get the rod right in there. And to be fair, on the cast rating, it's got to be a 9 or a 9.5. It absolutely pearled in there. The wind just dropped, and I was able to get a real straight line as it hit the clip and just drop it in. So I was really confident of a bite. Overnight it dropped quite cold, and there's a fair bit of mist coming off the lake this morning. You know, we're approaching full moon later this week, so yeah, it's starting to go very crisp at night, as you'd expect. You often get frost in April on a full moon. So no action overnight. Couple of fish I did hear in the back of the bay, so certainly not all of the fish moved out. And what I'm presuming has happened this morning is, just as this sun's on the rise, the fish have started to make a move back in to the bay, and obviously they're working that far margin as they've come along, or whether that one single fish has come along and it's got nailed. So yeah, nice start to the morning. 16 carp by Friday, I'll take that. Right, breakfast time soon. Ball cam out. Afternoon, 12 midday update Friday. The mist and the cool start to the morning has certainly lifted now that the sun is making its rise. And although the wind is still a little bit cool, it has actually swung a couple of times this morning. Probably about 2 hours ago it was sort of blowing down towards the hut, into the fence and new biffos, and now it's actually swung round and is now pushing back into the bay, which bodes well, because certainly if it pans out how it has earlier this week, when the wind blows in here, it does bring some fish. So I'm quite expectant that there could be a chance this afternoon of a bite or two. In terms of what else has been going on, I reeled in my rod here, which at the minute is my left-hand rod. That's the rod that was out on the bait and has been out on the bait, the spot that I've been baiting up with the boat. I reeled in off that as I'd seen a couple of fish showing close, so I reeled that rod in, put a zig rod out for probably an hour and a half or so, and then I was just sat in the bivvy minding my own business, looking out in the pond, and I saw a couple of flat spots come off the baited area. Now there was a little bit of activity on it just after or just before dusk yesterday evening, and it made me think, well, it could be roach or bream. There was a lot of oil infused in those baits, so obviously feeding fish, start disturbing the bottom, it's going to start kicking off. Anyway, the flat spot sort of continued enough so for me to actually reel in the zig rod and put this particular rod back out on the spot. Anyway, I did that, and within about half an hour I had a sort of stuttery, jittery, strange take, which if I was a betting man I said was a bream bite. So I lifted into it, nothing on there, and I've put the rod back out, and that was probably about half an hour ago. So I'm going to sort of sit tight for now and just keep watching, because it would be awesome to get a bite out the open water. Other than that, the two margin rods have been very quiet. I've swapped the bait on the washing line rod. The great thing being you can just wander around, literally pull it in by hand. I changed the rig, changed the hook bait, put another little bag on, and then just literally swung the rig out by hand and dropped it in. A few handfuls over the top. So really, yeah, we're all set. It's all prime. It's looking good. Hopefully I'll be back later with a little bit more news to update. So hopefully in terms of fish capture. So catch you in a bit. See you later. Friday 1 PM update. Sun's still shining, wind's still blowing, and the bobbins are motionless. It's changed. I kind of figured that it might. I've had the fish down this end in Manny's Bay a fair bit this week, so I can't really grumble, but it's very, very quiet down here now. There's very few signs. I think one fish has crashed out in the back of the bay since I've been up this morning, and yeah, it's just quiet, but things change, you know. The wind has shifted direction. Although it's still blowing in here, I think these fish have backed off, because I noticed Jason in New Biffos landed one about half an hour ago. So, and to be fair, he's had a pretty quiet week. I think that's his second fish, so I'm chuffed to bits for him that he's caught one, and I suspect there's probably a pack of fish have moved up that end. But you know, no matter. It's been a great week sport so far. Anyway, while I've got a rod in, I just want to go through the rig side of things. Now it's probably easy if I hold it up this way. If I just tap on the screen, that should focus in. Okay, in terms of like the bottom bait or bottom rig fishing that I've been doing, I've been predominantly using snowman presentation. Now with anything, kind of your rigs can evolve over the session, and what I'd started off with was size 4 quarter curve shrink tube, just knotless knotted, pretty much the same as what you see here, either a snowman or just with a single pop-up. Now the way I've fished this rig before here is either snowman style or just with a single small pop-up, which isn't buoyant enough to actually lift the hook. It worked really well for me in August fishing over bait, so I didn't really see any reason to majorly deviate. What I found was I was pulling out of some of the smaller stockfish, so I literally playing them in, and obviously they're a bit soft-mouthed and they were coming off. So what I did to improve the hooking potential was actually go with the same rig but actually make it Ronnie style. So I've put one of the Ronnie swivels on, shrink tubed it into position, and I actually lengthened the hook link as well, which seemed to work. I've actually stepped it up to probably 12-13 inches, that, which is maybe a little bit longer than what I'd use, but I didn't want to go shorter, so I thought I'd go longer. And to be fair, the hook holds probably the combination of the swivel change within the rig components and also the lengthening of the rig has worked a treat. Now in terms of what else we've got here, micro hook bead and a micro ring swivel. If I'm fishing it bottom style or snowman style like this, I tend to move the bead up nearer the hook point, and if I'm fishing it pop-up style, I'll bring it round. So really just to set the angle of the hook. But with it in this guise, I like to try and sort of hide the hook. The water I'm fishing is quite shallow, quite clear, so if I can conceal the hook in any way, then it's got to put things into your own advantage. So hook link, called a hybrid soft, couple of medium sinkers, anti-tangle sleeve. Pretty much use these all the time with any kind of lead clip or inline fishing, just to help kick the lead out, especially when you're fishing to the clip. It really works. Lead clip, and then we're on to 4-ounce quarter distance swivel, and then probably, I reckon, 10 inches of dark matter rig tubing, blobber putty on the end, and then a flying back lead. And oh, lead clip's just come undone. Yeah, that's been the rig. Certainly lengthening it has worked well. Better hook holds, and I think, you know, the visual aspect of the rig with the pop-up and the freebie being yellow and then feeding the essential cell over the top, it's worked a treat. So, you know, I've lost the odd fish. I put it down to them being soft mouth stockies, but yeah, been really happy with the rig, and I genuinely hope I get another fish before I go, because I really want another bite now. I'm not used to it being quiet. The bull likes to be hauling. So for now, it's ball cam out. Hopefully I'll be back with a bit of an update, maybe even a fish, or not. I don't know, I'm trying. Ball cam out. Catch you later. Evening all, 7 PM Friday evening update. Now this might actually be the last update if nothing further happens, so there's a few bits and pieces that I want to cover. If you're wondering why I'm actually inside the bivvy, it's because the wind has picked up and it's absolutely blasting down into the bay. So just to avoid some microphone wind noise, I thought I'd retreat inside the XL bivvy. While I'm mentioning about the bivvy, some of you will probably be wondering, oh, what shelter's the bull rocking on this trip? Well, this particular model is it's a test model, and it's a derivative of an SLX V3, and this is actually an XL size version, which is currently on test. This trip was its maiden voyage, and it's with a view for release next spring. So yeah, really impressed, if I'm honest. It's got loads of room, more than enough room for 2 bed chairs plus kit, and the inner capsule is just an absolute dream, because at night, as soon as the bugs come out, it's a mozzie coil outside the door, and then just zip yourself in, and then you've got complete airflow all the way through the bivvy, where you can see the back vent behind me, and it's been, you know, when it was warmer early in the week, it was an absolute godsend. So I've not had any issue with the mosquitoes at all. So yeah, that's been good. What else? I've given the new Tracker Propel 13-foot spod / marker rods a run out this week. I've not been doing any spodding, but I have been using the marker rod, and that's the same rod that I was using out here in August and used on Brasenose 1 and Berners Hall. So to actually have like the finished retail model in my hand is a big buzz, especially when you've sort of been involved through the whole testing phase and stuff. So yeah, that's been good. So I've enjoyed using that. Other highlights, I guess, or the highlights of the trip, it's got to be that 63 common. That absolutely blew my brains apart on Sunday evening, and I think it when it creates that kind of reaction where you're left physically shaking, you know that it's a good thing that you're doing, and why we kind of torment ourselves with these weeks away. Because let's be fair, you often have more bad than good, and when you get a bit of good fortune, you've just got to absolutely grab it with both hands and keep hold of it for as long as you can. So yeah, a couple of nice backup fish, that 46 mirror and a 42 common. Definite highlights of the week, both lovely fish, and then there's been some lovely backup fish as well. And I've been really fortunate, to be honest. I've had fish pretty much on me most of the week, and I know some of the other lads on this trip haven't been as fortunate as that, but I'd like to think, in terms of the swim choice, I got in a swim that I was happy being in. And to be fair, I fished quite hard. The nights have been very quiet. It's literally been, well, nothing's been happening other than the catfish. It's been incredibly quiet. So I've been getting good sleep, and then it's literally first light, up and at it, round baiting up, having a look. It probably hasn't actually come through on this video because there's a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to take the camera with me, and I've kept myself busy, and that's the way I like to fish. And sort of fishing corners like this, you can have a fiddle, and it's just great fun. In terms of the stockies, yeah, I guess they have been a bit of a pain, but you know what? That's good fishing management. And obviously the stockies now, they're the big fish of the future. Now the 40, 50, 60 pounder swimming around in this particular lake now, well, they were stockies at one point. So, you know, I'm certainly not going to moan about them. They've given good sport and they fought like hell. And yeah, they kept me busy. So yeah, it's been very, very enjoyable. Probably last thing I would like to say, obviously food has been great. Darren's looked after us this week. And also just, you know, a big shout out to the other lads on this trip. You know, they've been really, really, really decent lads, and it's a relief to come away on a week where I just booked a random week, not knowing I was going to be going with, and you know, end up with such a decent set of blokes to share the lake with for the week. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed this week, as you can probably tell. I'm pleased to say that I'm going to be back with the Tracker lads the end of June. So can't wait for that. That'll be great. So that's something to look forward to. And really that's it for now. So thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, you are an absolute legend. Thank you for your support, and I'll definitely catch you next time. So for now, it's Ball Cam out. Until next time. Washing line rod is dropped back, I've hit it, and there is the culprit. It's a good fish. Oh yes, yes. Yeah, that's a nice fish. Mega battle, absolutely incredible battle. I think the fact I hooked her the way I did, it completely disorientated her, so she actually kited straight out of the bay. And all of the battles under the rod tip, so fantastic. It's got the old arc going, that. Right, let's get her out, get her weighed, and see what we got. Beautiful. Buddy. There we go. Right, there we go. 42 pound. Last night magic. Excellent. Seems like a fitting way to end the session. That was a mega fish. Whew. Thank you, Teillatts. I think from the ball.